There's a special election Tuesday, May 19th, for the second Hampden and Hampshire District State Senate seat vacated by Don Humason. John Cain, a small business owner, volunteer firefighter, and U.S. Navy Reserve officer, is one of two people vying for the post. I asked the Republican and political newcomer why he's running now.
Well, I think the time is now for anybody to step up and if they want to make a difference. And the things that I see going on in our state government with the open seat and an opportunity for someone like myself, a business owner, to get in there and to really help out the community that I've grown up in, the community that's helped me through my first 32 years of life. And I think that I owe it back to my community to help them out. So with the special election and the open seat, I think it's a great opportunity for someone like myself to get in there and do good for the communities.
Earlier in the cycle, you had hoped to run for the first congressional seat that is currently held by Richard Neal and being challenged by Alex Morse. Now, obviously, you're a Republican, so it would have been on the other side of the aisle. Why the switch? You were focused on Congress. Now you've pivoted to focus on state Senate. Why switch?
Well, with the opening of the seat when Mayor Humason was elected in November, that changed a lot of our strategy, and a lot of people came out of the woodwork and said, hey, this would be a great opportunity for you to get in there, make a difference in your local community, and then possibly further expand later on if you want, or do something great in the state Senate and go from there and then continue on with your business. So the state party came to me. A lot of grassroots people came to me and said, we don't have a candidate. We'd like you to run. I had some state representatives come to me as well and help me kind of get into it, see what I needed to do to make that switch. And here we are now, less than a week away from the election.
Yeah, and Republicans have certainly had a long history of success, 25 or so years of Republicans holding that seat there in Westfield. So certainly have history on your side in that regard. And I should mention, you do have a challenger, State Representative John Vilas, who's currently a representative in the State House, is pivoting as well and running for this state Senate seat. If you were elected to this seat, what's the first order of business for you?
The first order of business is to get our economy back up and going in whatever safe manner that might be. We need to get some people back to work. Our unemployment system is being crippled by the amount of people out of work right now. And I think we have a really good opportunity to rebuild our economy in a structured, safe way, get the people back to work, get our students, back to learning full speed, and, recover from this coronavirus pandemic with the damage that's been done so far, and then just work on rebuilding. And then after that, once we have our ducks in a line and things are back to somewhat normal, work on the real issues that our state's having, prior to the coronavirus pandemic, opioids, skilled labor shortage, and healthcare system that we have.
I was just going to touch on that. Your website, the opioid crisis, seems to be first and foremost on your mind. And you've said that you would believe in punishing dealers and getting help for victims. That's on your website. What does that look like for you?
Well, for me, the opioid crisis has impacted my family, my friends greatly. Since I was in high school, it has been a problem with people that I know. I lost my best friend to the opioid crisis a couple of years ago, and some family members of mine are dealing with it very intimately and have been impacted significantly by, addiction and those kinds of things, substance abuse. So I think the most important part is, these people that have these addiction problems are not criminals for the most part. They might partake in criminal activity as a means to get their fix for their addiction. But most of them are not criminals, through and through. They're not evil people. They've encountered some type of adversity in their life that they weren't able to overcome. And they turn to drugs to find the help they needed without knowing what resources were available to them. So for me to get into office and be that voice and say, hey, these people aren't bad people, but the people selling the drugs to them, on the street, those are the bad people that we need to prosecute. But the ones that are taking the drugs, they need help. They need the right avenue. They need to go down the right path, and they need the help to sobriety, because without sobriety, they're never going to become, contributing members of society. We need someone, that they're clean, they have goals, and that's what we need to help these people with. Is these people that are addicted, they're running out of resources and they don't know where to turn, and they turn to drugs. So we need to help them get into healthy communities, and understand that there are options and resources for you to get help and to become successful and contributing down the road.
One of the things that have been floated as sort of a next step in the fight against the opioid crisis here in Massachusetts, and it's been a controversial idea, is this idea of a supervised injection site where people would be able to go in, use an illegal substance under the supervision of someone who might then offer them help if they get sick or they overdose. What's your position on supervised injection sites?
I'm not a supporter of supervised injection sites or safe injection sites, if you will. I think what that does is it perpetuates the problem that we have of addiction. We're not getting these people the help they need to become healthy. We're just prolonging their addiction and giving them an excuse and a place to do it and not really find the right avenue to become better, a better person, a better contributing member of society, and just get away from the drugs, get away from the people that are doing the drugs. I think that's one of the biggest things is a lot of our drug addicted population, they come together and they find a community of other drug addicts. And I think that makes it very difficult for them to get away from that lifestyle. So having these safe injection sites, you're asking for a lot of people with the same problems to come to the same places. And I think we're just going to perpetuate our issues if we do that. Now, on the other hand, if we give them the right resources to get employment, to get job training, to get out of addiction, I think that's where we need to put our resources first and foremost.
Let's move on and talk about another issue that you've talked about before, and that's the idea of infrastructure improvements. And as you say, that would spur economic development. Obviously, EastWest Rail has been a huge issue here in our region. A study came out that said this could cost between $2 billion and $25 billion. For you, is the idea of East Coast Rail something you'd support, and one of those things that you do think would spur economic development?
I've seen the studies for the EastWest Rail. I've seen the cost projections, the ridership projections, and they don't balance each other. There's not enough ridership availability even to really cover the costs of this, not even the infrastructure capital improvement, but just the yearly operation costs are somewhere between 60 and 90 million, and if not greater than that on a yearly basis. And the ridership, just doesn't add up, and the budget of that doesn't balance. In the MBTA, we can see the issues that we're having with mass transit in Boston, and their ridership is huge. And even they're hitting budget shortfalls because they can't get the revenue they need to operate at the size that they are. And I don't think EastWest Rail at this point gives us any economic advantage out here in Western Mass. And I think that $25 billion and $100 million a year could be used quite a bit better to improve the economy throughout the state, but especially out here in Western Mass, where, everyone wants to look at Western Mass and say, oh, we can get to Boston faster, we can do that. But a lot of us out here in Western Mass like where we are, we like where we work, and we like what we do out here. And I think we need to, instead of bring our money out to Boston, bring the Boston money out here, maybe get some more corporations in this area to build up our infrastructure out here.
As you mentioned, you're a small business owner, construction and mechanical repair business. How has the pandemic impacted you?
In many different ways. I'm also a father and a husband. So my wife is an ER nurse, so she's working at Noble Hospital, regularly dealing with all of the COVID patients, the non-COVID patients, and that kind of community support. My daughter's out of school, so I co-parent with my ex, so she's teaching her at home, and I'm teaching her while I'm at home. I bring her to work with me as well because we're still working. We're able to come back to work. We are an essential business. We do repairs on a lot of fire trucks, things like that, and different construction equipment. So we're able to continue working, but at a reduced capacity. One thing that I have noticed is that the supply chains are becoming depleted. And a lot of stuff we do, we're repairing equipment, we need parts. And it takes a long time to get parts. And a lot of turnaround is much longer than normal. And a lot of customers of ours are just not working. So the workload isn't there, the revenue isn't there, but we're still covering our bills and trying to pay our employees like most other small businesses are doing. The unemployment protection program, when they helped out a lot of us, we were able to lay some people off and get a little bit of breathing room for that first month where everything was just totally shut down and in chaos. We didn't know what was going to happen. And the biggest thing for business owners, we're trying to open up next week, hopefully, on a statewide scale, is the short time frame we give them to get ready to open. We're not going to let them know until Monday what they have to do to open on Monday. And I think that's a problem. We need to look down the road. We need to get things done quicker. We need to understand that time is of the essence for a lot of these businesses. If they're not going to be ready to open with 12 hours notice, they need, some of these guys and gals are going to need a week or two to get things up and running, to make orders, to get supplies in so they can operate effectively, efficiently, and profitability wise.
But the governor has said that it is not going to be a light switch. So it's not as if everything is going to open on May 19th. He has a 4-step plan, a phased plan for the way that would work. But it sounds like you're critical of that approach. What do you think of his overall response? Governor Charlie Baker, fellow Republican, what do you think of his overall response to the pandemic?
Well, I'm not critical of his overall plan, and I understand, we can't just open things up like a light switch. We need to get people comfortable going back to work, get people comfortable going back to businesses and purchasing things, because, like you said, a light switch, that's for consumers as well as the employers and the business owners. Because if you open like a light switch, and there's just not that time to marketing and how are we going to be open and that kind of stuff. So if we have a good plan with itemized things that need to be done before these businesses open, prior to the opening or even the announcement of the opening. Let these businesses know what's expected of them in advance before dropping the hammer on them and saying, oh, you can open tomorrow, when everybody wants to open as soon as possible, but not being ready for it, which I think is going to be, it's going to impact our safety and our health of the people if we're not ready for it, but they're allowed to go back to work. So we need to make sure there's clear guidelines in place in advance of the announced openings. I mean, Governor Baker has done a job that I don't think any of us would want to take on at this point, with national politics and with local politics and everything. He's really trying to balance everybody's best interest and really trying to take the input from the people. And he's in a really tough position. So I think as governor, he's done a good job of doing what he has to do for this state. But hopefully, we can get some better guidelines coming down the pipeline sooner and hopefully get things up and running a little bit quicker than the final stage phase 4 of the plan, that is a vaccine. I think that might be a little far-fetched. So in that regard, I might not agree with that, but what we've done so far, and we're opening businesses, we're going in the right direction. I think that's what we need to do. We need to be supportive of everybody and just keep pushing forward to make sure that all of us get through this together.